Okay, let's finish up the quarterback conversation. We went through the top 10, but can I give you the quarterbacks from the SEC, and this was the SEC list, that Texas will face this year, according to CBS Sports, and rank them? Because they have Arch Manning as the number one quarterback in the SEC based on his final 6-game performance and the bowl game performance after he got his feet on the ground and Texas figured out what they had in Arch Manning for the offense for Sark. But according to CBS Sports, the best 6 quarterbacks of the top 16 quarterbacks in the conference, Texas will face from 1 to 16. The best quarterback they'll face is Trinidad Chambliss, who's listed number 2. He's number 1 on the list. Sam Leavitt, who's number 4 at LSU, is 2. Texas will play at LSU in November. Mm-hmm. And then number 7, Marcel Reed. Number 8, John Mateer. And then it's the next 2 are down, or 2 of them are down in the. Actually, the next, 4 are 11 and below. Camario Taylor at Mississippi State with Jeff Levy, who is at number 11. Aaron Philo, who's going to be the likely starter for John Sumrall at Florida. Mm-hmm. He's game experience very limited. And then Tennessee, Joey Aguilar lost his battle to get another year, so it's going to be a kid named likely George McIntyre. There could be a quarterback battle there with another 5-star freshman named Faison Brandon.
Sure.
Or Faison Brandon. So not sure at Tennessee with Josh Heupel. That's why I keep saying why Ty Simpson isn't the starting quarterback at Tennessee. I know he kind of got forced out at Alabama and his options were limited, and right then there wasn't a spot and he had to declare by January 15th. You had to know a spot like this was going to happen in the wild, wild west of college football. But George McIntyre, don't know much about him.
I don't either.
And then number 8 on the list is another new quarterback at Arkansas with a new head coach in Ryan Silverfield, KJ Jackson, or Memphis transfer A.J. Hill. And that's the Longhorn schedule. So only 2 of the top quarterbacks as far as CBS Sports' list, Chambliss and Leavitt, and they're both pretty good. And then Marcel Reed with a rebuilt offense in Aggieland, and John Mateer at Oklahoma, then Camario Taylor, Aaron Philo, George McIntyre, and KJ Jackson, Arkansas. Pretty good, manageable. But you also have Julian Sain in the non-con from Ohio State.
Yeah.
But
looks like in Tennessee it's either a freshman or a redshirt freshman.
In a year where you're college ball playoff and possibly championship or bust,
yeah,
the Longhorns caught a break with the Joey Aguilar thing. They go to Knoxville in the month of September. Josh Heupel will have a good team, but the quarterback being an inexperienced guy likely early in the year. If you can handle Ohio State here in Austin, which they've got your number, of course.
It's the first SEC game they play, right?
Huge, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you got the 3 at home. OU. You got the 3 at home, and then Texas State, Ohio State, UTSA, and then you're off to Knoxville. Then Texas caught a little bit of a break there.
Sure.
Because then you'll see Trinidad Chambliss in October. You'll see John Mateer in October. And then in November, you'll see Sam Leavitt and Marcel Reed. So
pretty good.
Not that we're already jonesing for football season, but we also are jonesing for baseball season here in Horns that have passed. And ho-hum, Longhorns went out on a Tuesday night and run-ruled another team, 16-3 the final. I guess the headline, 16 more runs. They can't get through that lineup. And Houston Christian's not a good team, not a great team, obviously. They don't pitch very well, and Texas took advantage of that. But 12-0 start, Jack, with, as we said, a lot of stats in baseball, but they're 12 wins, no losses. They've scored 109 runs. Their opponents have scored 22. And last night, Sam Cozart dealing again. This is the true freshman who we've told you about. 6'6", 6'7", goes about 260 pounds, has the size 18 shoes, and pretty ridiculous. Here it is. Here's how 1-2-3 in the first inning against Houston Christian with a punch out. Here we go. You got me? All right, we'll get the gizmo fixed here coming up. But so he struck out the side essentially. He had how about this through his 3 starts here in the. This is an 18-year-old or 19-year-old now coming out of high school. Sam Cozart in a couple of we've seen him in the weekend a little bit, but really he's been a midweek guy and they're developing him. Sam Cozart so far through the midweek is what do I have here? 15 innings pitched, Jack, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 18 strikeouts, and a fastball that's topping out around 96, 97 miles an hour.
He's a freshman?
Yeah, and he looks like the grizzled vet, not a freshman with that beard and the maturity that he brings.
So you think if he's 18, 19, throwing 97?
Yeah.
I think it might get above. We might see triple digits in his time on the 40, let alone his professional career.
I don't want to get over my skis, but I know Ty Harrington was on the call last night with the ESPN Plus, and we'll talk to Ty about that. But I know when I saw him at the alumni game, you know, I also saw up on that mound back a few years ago when he was at Air Force is Paul Skeens. And it's just that same big, physically imposing looking guy.
Just a huge guy.
Huge guy on top of a mound. Part of Dylan Volantis and his abilities is he's 6'6", and he's up on a mound, and he's got the high arm angle.
Elevated college mound.
And I don't want to overinflate Kozar, but the stuff travels, man. The stuff is the stuff. And he's the son of... He's got two brothers who are high-level baseball players. His dad's a baseball coach, so you see he comes in with this level of maturity that is just beyond his years. He's really talented.
No, we're not saying he's one of the best in the country, but we're saying, man, this kid's got some talent, and if he puts it all together, which he already kind of has started to, this dude is going to be a freak.
Right. When you think about
this guy's got Friday stuff.
And you think about what he's come in with. I mean, Ruben Riojas, when he was in high school, was throwing 87.
He's a one-pitch guy,
and with sidearm. And now with development at UTSA and here and his own body development, he's throwing 97. To your point, if you're 96 at 19, what does that look like a couple years from now with that high-octane cheese and the breakers? Here's afterwards with Jim Schlossnagle. Now career wins 1,002. Still no gizmo? All right, I don't know what's going on here. See if I can figure out what's happening with my sound machine, because I'm able to do that, which I'm excited about. But we'll get that rectified here in a short time. He just good win. And now they're going to play USC Upstate. You know what that is, Jack? This weekend, and the final series before conference. Yeah, they're in the state of South Carolina.
South Carolina Upstate. I don't know anything beyond that.
Yeah, South Carolina Upstate is what they are. So it's you think USC, so you're thinking California. No, it's a part of the South Carolina University system, and it's USC Upstate. They're in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and they'll be rolling in here this weekend for 3 ball games, and then Texas opens conference play against Ole Miss, and the levels ratchet up. We told you next week that Tuesday matchup down in San Marcos, where there'll be a packed house, and Texas State off to a good start. They're 9-2. They'll play Washington State in a 4-game series this weekend. That's one to watch, and then Ole Miss to start conference play. I was looking at that first conference slate schedule, Jack, for college baseball. Texas plays Ole Miss. How about Arkansas? Or how about A&M and Oklahoma? That first weekend. That's pretty good. Can't wait for it. Getting to SEC play next weekend, but one more weekend of non-con. Hey, congrats to some Texas women's basketball players. Madison Booker earned first-team All-SEC honors yesterday along with Rory Harmon. They're both first and second. Madison Booker did not win the Player of the Year in the SEC, but, she actually, the young lady that won it, she felt like should have won it, and she didn't win it back-to-back years. Madison Booker, though, first-team All-SEC. Rory Harmon, second-team All-SEC honors, also all-defensive team as the Longhorns get ready for the SEC tournament. I think at this point with Vic Schaefer and the team, Jack, it's more about, come on, we want a we want to go get a championship. This is fun, and my stance on conference championship tournaments.
You're all set.
What are we doing? I know for the mid-majors and the smaller conferences, they're huge and they're bracket busters and they're fun. But for this, I just watched 2.5 months of SEC basketball, 2 months of SEC basketball. I don't need a conference tournament. Let's just go. I know South Carolina is really good. I know Texas is good. But they're going to play it, and Texas will play in the conference tournament. But they're shooting for bigger things. They want to win that big tournament.
That's right. They're in line to be a 1 seed right now. And they were in the Final Four a year ago. I think the hope is, or the floor is, to get back to that. Maybe win an extra game. Maybe win 2 extra games.
Well, I know I'll sound like a elitist or a snob or something. I have the same feeling about conference tournaments in the Power Four as I do with the conference title games in football. I don't know why you're playing them. They're for money. They're money draws. They're grabs. I understood why you were playing them back in the day, and I know in college basketball where there's 300 teams and 330 teams, and in the mid-majors, you can win a conference tournament, get hot for a few days, and you're in. I think I still think every conference should be awarded an automatic bid in the college basketball tournament. I just think it should go to the team that was the best team for the entirety of the conference.
And it still officially is. That's how Kansas gets to claim 1 million conference titles in a row. But we just play this random tournament. You get to say you're tournament champs. Texas was tournament champs a few years ago.
I'll give you an example.
Champs.
It's going to become a big storyline if they lose the game. But Miami of Ohio, in the Mid-American Conference, finished a 31-0 regular season last night. But based on their strength of schedule and the quad 1 wins and the net rating and all of that, if they don't win the conference tournament, they might not be in. And there's going to be people saying that's ridiculous. They were perfect in conference play. but they've got to win the tournament. And all I would say is I don't need a conference tournament. They went 30-0 and they won the conference. Put them in. They shouldn't get knocked out if they don't play well on
I agree that they should get an at-large bid at worst, but
it's gonna be tough.
It's what these fun things are about the bid stealers. That's why we have these tournaments. But yeah, I think I like the basketball tournaments. I'm with you on the football games. It's like, I don't know, maybe I was just bored by seeing a bad Alabama team again in the SEC title game. But
look, I know it's made for TV, and fans love it. They love the bracket buster.
And I will watch TV.
I know, but I'm just, as a conference, I want my best team, and Miami of Ohio is the best team in that conference. And they may not get there because if they take a loss, especially if it's a tough loss in a neutral site, which you don't expect, but it's hard to go undefeated. I know. What I want in the field of 12 in the tournament, what I want in the field of 64 is the best teams. And Miami of Ohio has been proven to be the best team in that conference without question. And if they lose this tournament game, because what's going to happen is then there's going to be a sob story, and that conference is going to get 2, and someone's going to get knocked out that might be more deserving. But I have an ongoing.
Well, what's more deserving than 31-0?
But if you go 31-1 and you don't win that automatic bid, it's going to leave it up to debate.
Yeah, but then you're talking about Auburn.
But they have no quad 1 wins, 0.
Auburn sucks.
But that's your opinion. That's the point, though. Then it comes down to, once it becomes a beauty contest, you have to compare the quality wins, and Miami of Ohio doesn't have any, because they play in that conference. That's my point. If I'm the commissioner of that conference, I want Miami of Ohio in. I don't want the risk of them getting knocked out. And I understand the allure of it and the upset bracket buster. I just want the best 64 teams, and I think over the course of 3.5 months of basketball, Miami of Ohio have proven that. And they may win the tournament, and then this will be moot. But at the same time, you understand what happens if they don't win it. And then all of a sudden, the Mid-American Conference is getting 2 teams, which shouldn't happen. But that's my opinion. All right, 512-834-1027. Let's also get to Texas men. They play tonight. Next hour at 7:30, we're going to talk to our buddy Jerry Hamilton of the On Texas Football Channel. But he's a big basketball guy. We'll preview this game with Arkansas tonight. Interestingly, it'll be a tough game. Arkansas is 20th in the KenPom ratings right now. Texas is 29th, though. And this should be a pretty even game. I mean, Texas, what Arkansas is not is a great defensive team. And, great defensive team gives Texas trouble because they're offensive and they don't play great defense a lot of the times. This should be a high-scoring game. And it starts at 6 o'clock tonight, right? Would you agree with that, Jack, that this is an elevated scoreboard?
Yeah, likely to be.
With Darian Acuff Jr., the freshman who scored, 50 points in a game
bunch of points,
earlier this year in that double overtime game at Alabama.
It should be a very high-scoring game. Not going to be a lot of defense in this one.
Because John Calipari team, they don't play great defense, but they can score, and it's a John Calipari team.
And they usually have a good home crowd.
And Acuff's really, really good. So I'll look forward to this. And this is an early tip, 6 o'clock. We'll get a full preview. We'll talk to Jerry about it next hour. Jerry's got the 411 on the Razorbacks. And anytime you run into John Calipari, that's kind of fun. He always has a lot of college basketball swagger to him. It seems like he fits Fayetteville. Heck, there were a lot of Texas fans, Jack, that when Texas hired, they wanted Texas to go after John Calipari when he came available from Kentucky. But I think they're happy to have Sean Miller leading this thing into and if the Texas wins tonight, because here's where Texas is right now, Jack. If they were to find a way to win this game tonight and then come home and beat Oklahoma on Saturday for Sean Miller, all of a sudden, you're talking about a team that can climb the seed line. You can be an 8 seed. Maybe, if you get some win or 2 in the SEC tournament, which I don't like, you keep climbing because Texas is at 7 quad 1 wins. This would be an 8th. Then you come home for Oklahoma. So they could keep padding the resume. I think right now they're pretty secure provided they beat OU on Saturday. Even without it, if they go 0-2 here, they leave themselves, vulnerable. But I think they have a good chance. One other note, speaking of coaches who we almost hired, one thing I didn't mention yesterday with the Texas football edition of Mark Stoops as a football analyst, another set of eyes for, a special assistant to the head coach he's being called. Not only does Mark Stoops, for Steve Sarkisian, Jack, bring intimate knowledge of the SEC, and he can self-scout the Longhorns of what he has seen from them the last couple of years. Do you know how close he was to being the head coach of the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies?
He was on the tarmac.
He was on the tarmac at College Station.
He was there.
Ross Bjork, the ousted AD, identified him, went to Lexington, picked him up, brought him back to finalize a contract, and much like Steve Sarkisian found out when he tried to hire Mike Stoops to be his linebackers coach back in 2021, the big money said, no, you're not. You're not doing that. But he was almost the head coach there was a time where reports were he was going to be the head coach at Texas A&M, and that was not that long ago. And now he is the special assistant to the head coach at Texas. Interesting times we live in here in the coaching landscape, safe to say.